everyone. Welcome.
Hi guys, welcome to ReadEagle. Please can you turn your if you are in an appropriate place, please turn your cameras on. We'd love to see you. Because remember, this is not really a meeting for us to just talk. It's going to be a very interactive, almost class discussion, so we really want to see your faces and hear what you have to say. But while we're waiting for our friends, please also type in the chat where you are signing in from, which country you're signing in from. We'd love to know where you are situated.
Definitely. We'd love to know how many countries we have joining us today. We still have some people in the waiting room, so people are still joining in. That's awesome. It's great to see all of you guys here today. We're so glad you joined so we can sort of get into the book and discuss some things, discuss some of those principles and so on.
Excellent. I mean, we have Myanmar, Philippines, and Azerbaijan, Philippines. We have lots from Philippines. Welcome, guys. That's really, really cool.
Welcome.
That's really cool, guys. Welcome.
Welcome. We're just going to wait another, let's say, half a minute just so everyone can join in. We still have
most definitely
waiting room. So awesome. Okay. It's great to see you guys. Some of your faces, some of you are turning your cameras on. Great to see you. Okay.
Don't be shy, guys. I know some of you might be shy, but you can turn those cameras on. It's just a camera.
Sure.
Come on, guys.
We got some people from North Macedonia. Welcome.
Awesome. I think that we can get started.
Sure.
I hope that everybody can hear us. I assume everybody can hear us. So yeah, I think we can get started.
Yeah, let us know if you're experiencing any sound problems, screen problems, but for now it seems to be all good. You guys are answering our questions in the chat, so I assume everything's good. You can see and hear. So yeah, welcome to the first session of ReadEagle for your category. We've had a few sessions before this with the younger categories. We're so excited to hear you guys' discussions and your sort of view on some of the things in the books. So it's really cool to see you like this and hear from you. And let's get started. So as you know, the ReadEagle sessions will be happening twice for each category. So this is the first session for you guys for TeenEagle 3. And the second one will be happening on the 24th at the same time. So feel free to, join then. We'd love to see you again. It will be a similar, discussion and type of meeting. Like Cassie said, this isn't sort of for us to talk. We'd love to hear you as well. At any point, if you have anything to add, just raise your hand, and we'd love to hear from you as well. Also, if anyone wants to take a picture of this really quick or, print screenshot, you have the chance to do so now, just in case you want to make sure you've got that time correct for our next session. And before we start, I do want to remind you guys that this category is for students born in 2005, 2006, 2007, and 2008. So hopefully everyone is in the right spot, and there were no mix-ups and no one joined, earlier or later for their session. So yeah, we have someone saying they're new and confused. Okay, so for anyone who's new, because like we said, anyone can join this session and sort of discuss with us. So Lily says she's very new here at TeenEagle. So Lily, what we're doing here is at TeenEagle, we have two resources that the students sort of prepare for the online and for the global rounds. So one of those two resources is a book. And for this category, if you're born in the years 2005, 2006, 2007, or 2008, then your book is something called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And today we're just going to be diving into that book and sort of, discussing, sharing our opinions, looking at some principles, some prompts, and so on. So as you guys know, this is your book here by Mr. Dale Carnegie, I believe it's pronounced. This book is a very, very huge, let's say, it's almost like a cultural book at this point. This book was published in 1936, so quite an old book. And it really has stood the test of time. For decades, people have studied how to win friends and influence people in terms of like just, trying to better their professional relationships, their friendships, just friendships with, acquaintances or colleagues or anything really. And a lot of influential people have sort of accredited this book for some of the personality traits and some of the things that and principles they have adopted. And they sort of credit it for sort of just making them more a better person to talk to and sort of a more comfortable person to talk to and so on.
Yeah.
So
So we have a few. I see Lily and Heather. It's your very first time. I think it's everyone's very first time. This is the first time we're having ReadEagle for you guys. You don't have to take notes. You're more than welcome to take notes. But what this really is to help you for your actual competition. So this is your book, and what we've noticed is that some people aren't really familiar with the book that they have to read, and they sort of just going into the exam not really having a full understanding of what the book is about. So that's what this session is. It's to really help you understand exactly what the book is about, in short, brief sessions.
for sure. And remember, guys, if you haven't had a chance to either start the book or completely finish it yet, it's completely fine, because what we're going to be talking about today are some elements from the book, but you can definitely participate and discuss even if you haven't finished it yet, because it will be something that just, requires a little bit of brainstorming and discussion. So no worries about that. So is there anyone who's maybe started the book and wants to tell us what the book is like, what's sort of the format of the book, and just give us a little bit of an intro? So if you guys would like to, you can just raise your hand, or if you can't find the button, you can unmute yourself, but I think you'll be able to find that pretty easily there on the bottom. So anyone wants to raise their hand, just tell us shortly what the book is like, sort of the format, if you've taken a look at it. If not, totally fine. I mean, that's why we're here, to sort of help you guys get prepared. And also at any point, if you guys, maybe don't find where to raise your hand, feel free to just unmute and be like, hey, can I jump in? And that's fine. But sure, I will introduce a bit about this book to you guys, and then we can discuss some of these principles together. So pretty much this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, consists of 4 parts. And each part dives into these various principles that are very important for just your business relationships. Like I said, even your personal relationships, maybe even romantic friendship relationships with your family. And just it goes all across the board. So the book does have a total of 30 principles, and each principle sort of gives you like cases and scenarios, and maybe some quotes to sort of put into perspective what it's talking about. So we would love to hear from you about some of the principles that we're about to dive into. Lily's asking, how do I open the book to read it? You can find the book anywhere. I'm sure you can find a bunch of ebooks or find it at your local bookstore. So we leave that up to you, or you can contact, if you guys have found us through your school, you can ask your teachers and so on. But yeah, we can dive in now into some of those principles we just discussed and some of the different elements of communication, right? Because that's super important for our relationships. So one of the principles in this book, in those 4 parts that we discussed, is show respect for the other person's opinions and never tell them you're wrong. So this is about the person that we're talking to in a conversation, right? This is has a lot to it. It's about, communication. It's about sort of making a person feel comfortable, making them feel like they could trust you, or making them feel, sort of in a comfort zone around you. So what do you guys think why do you think this is important for relationships and success? Show respect for the other person's opinions and never telling them like, hey, you're wrong about this. If you have anything, you'd like to chime in about, let us know. You can do it in the comments. You can raise your hand. Don't be shy. Let's check out
guys,
the chat.
we'd love to hear your opinion. I think we'll need one person to break the ice. Anissa, what do you think? Like, why do you think that this is important for relationships to succeed when you say you're wrong?
I mean, it's definitely important to sort of show that respect for the other person's opinions, because I feel like if we do tell someone that in that conversation, you know, they're telling us their opinion, and then we say like, oh, you're wrong, you're definitely wrong about that, that's not the case, that's not true, that's not right, that person might put up a border with us, and they might not want to tell us things in the future. They might not want to share these opinions with us. And sort of here in the comments, we have, I mean, I can't see your name, it just says Galaxy A51, but thank you for your comment here in the chat box. This person says, if you're wrong, admit it quickly. This also definitely helps in communication and in these conversations. So does anyone want to, you know, share why they think that showing respect for another person's opinions can sort of help build that relationship in your communication, in your friendships, relationships? Cassie, what do you think as well?
Yeah, I think, you know, opinions are very open-ended, and all of us are completely different. So when it comes to someone else's perspective, I mean, I don't think that anybody really has that right to say that you're wrong, because everybody feels very different or differently about certain situations. And in fact, it's quite good to accept other people's opinions, because it might be something you've never thought about, you know. So yeah, that's how I feel about opinions.
For sure, because I mean, that's why they're called opinions, right? We each have our own, so we can't really say that we're right or wrong. So as for the second prompt, like, how do I think utilizing this principle helps in winning people over? Because that's sort of what this book teaches you. It just sort of teaches you to get people on your side, and not in like very a malicious way or anything. Just, you know, helping people understand you and become friends with you, become acquainted with you. And I think this principle helps, because then people feel like you're listening. People feel like they can tell you something, or you know, share something with you without being automatically judged or told they're wrong. So I think that's definitely a big part as well.
Yeah, most definitely. So guys, please feel free to raise your hand. You know, otherwise what I can do is I can just click on someone and ask you to speak. I mean, I don't want to, but maybe, okay, there we go. Is it Kovi? So you've said, I think it's important because respect would allow for the other person to open up more easily, and you'd be able to have a friendly conversation instead of ending up arguing. So that's also a really, really good point. So thank you, Kobe. Thank you for that.
Perfect.
Agree.
And actually, what Kobe, again, I hope we're pronouncing this right, what Kobe mentioned about having a friendly conversation instead of ending up arguing, this is the thing about arguing, is something we're going to mention later on in a few minutes. And it's actually really, really important. And that's a great point that you mentioned about sort of instead of ending up arguing. So that's definitely something we're going to turn back to. If you guys want to add anything about this principle before we move on to the next one, feel free to, you know, raise your hand, turn on your mic, put your discussions in the chat box below, and we can slowly move on to the next principle here on the screen. So it says, talk in terms of the other person's interests. We can take a second to think about this one. This is, I think, a really good one. So when we're talking to someone, we can try to talk to them in terms of what their interests are. So does anyone have maybe any opinions on that? You know, why do you think this is important for some type of relationship? And again, it could be a business relationship, a colleague, a friendship relationship. How do you think this helps those conversations? We have a raised hand from Ivy. Go on, Ivy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think talking in terms of the other person's interest is important, because it shows that you're interested in the other person and you're not selfish, and you allow other people to express about what they want and their desires before yours. So basically, you will be showing them that you are selfless and you care about them. So if I think it's important in both, you know, business or transactional relationship, and but also in like families and maybe with your significant others. Like maybe we could try to be more sympathetic towards the other person and think about their interests first before we think about ours. Yeah.
Most definitely.
Amazing.
You made some really, really important points there. So thank you for that.
For sure. And I love how you, connected this to both like business and then family as well, because, with your family as well, you want to try to connect to them and show them that you're interested in what they have to say as well. That's amazing. I love the connection there. Here we have in the comments, we have Jessary Joyce Lim said, I think it's because we engage more and are generally more interested in conversations if it's about our interests. Exactly. Think about how, okay, for example, how you approach a conversation when someone is talking about their interests. You're not really in it, you're half listening, your mind is on something else. And then when someone talks about something you like, so let's say, I don't know, I'm thinking of an example here, but let's say skiing, first thing that comes to my mind. Let's say you really look forward to skiing. Skiing is a huge interest of yours. You love talking about, the different methods, the different slopes, different mountains to go skiing on. And you sort of have a colleague who maybe knows that, and that colleague approaches you and they start talking to you about skiing, and you get so invested in it, like you're really in that conversation. You're not halfway in there, you're not on your phone or thinking about something else. You really, really enter these conversations when they're about something that you're interested in. And then knowing this, we can turn it around. And if we really want to spark a conversation with somebody, or let's say, we want to get on somebody's good side or maybe get to know them more, all we have to do is find out one small interest that they have, do a bit of research on it, and talk to them about that. We have a lot.
Most definitely.
We have a lot going on in the chat here as well. Awesome. We have Nika who says, if we want to influence other people, make friends, talking to them will help them grow closer because they'll tell us a lot of things about what they like, making them comfortable with us. Amazing. So like we said, the comfort factor, definitely the comfort factor for sure. I see Lily has her hand up. Yeah, Lily, we're listening.
I don't understand the question.
Sure. So just to like sort of repeat it for you, we're pretty much talking about how it's important to talk when we're talking to another person or having a conversation with another person, how it's important to sort of let them talk about their interests and, talk to them about these interests, ask them questions and so on. So thank you guys for the amazing comments. This was actually really great.
Is it Aisha? I think Aisha says to defend the principle with its negative. I think that in talking too much about ourselves, we can come off as selfish and inconsiderate. I mean, 100%. I definitely agree with you in that way. You could come across as arrogant or overly confident. Instead of having a conversation, it could seem like you're giving a talk or a lecture, and you end up excluding the people that you aim to include. 100%. And I think one of the things that we all need to understand as well is sometimes we try too hard to include ourselves, and you just need to be yourself, because when you're yourself, you'll attract people that are similar to you. When you try too hard, eventually you're just trying to become someone that you're not, so very, very good point. Thank you so much, Aisha. Jamie? I think you guys are maybe too shy to speak, so I'll just keep reading them. So that's fine. Jamie, talking about the other person's interest can definitely pique their interest, 100%. However, balance in talking about both parties can definitely build a healthier relationship between those involved, as these conversations can expand horizons and share pieces of information for the betterment of both people. That's absolutely an important point. Best case scenario, both of you share an interest or two. That's really, really good. And sometimes it's not always about the other person's interests, because they, in terms of common interests. So sometimes you don't have to influence people because you have the same interests. Sometimes it's really awesome to talk about something that they know nothing of, and you can also educate them and give them knowledge on something that they never ever thought they would take interest in, really.
This is so true, and these are amazing point of views for this. And it's so interesting to see how each of us approaches this differently. So I love that. So here on the next one, we actually have a really cool quote by Dale Carnegie, and someone mentioned this or something similar to this earlier, a few minutes ago. And Dale says, there's only one way under high heaven to get the best out of an argument, and that is to avoid it. So someone mentioned earlier something about having a friendly conversation instead of avoiding an argument. So what are some ways that we can avoid an argument when you sort of see that it's starting to happen again, either with a family member, a colleague, a peer in school, maybe even like a teacher, something, you know, you can sort of see there's some tension going on, and maybe from both sides, you know, both sides are sort of in conflict, and there's no argument happening yet, but you can sort of feel that someone's not quite getting what they wanted out of the conversation. So what are some ways that we can avoid these arguments? Do you guys have any ideas? We see that you're more comfortable writing in the chat box, so that's fine as well.
But I mean, what do you guys do? So you can, I mean, you can raise your hand. What do you guys do when you can feel that there's some sort of argument brewing in the air, and you can sort of feel it coming? What do you guys do? Like, how do you avoid it?
Yeah, we definitely want to hear your perspective, or like some of the strategies that you sort of take to try to bring the situation down and even try to make it pleasant, for example.
Maybe you guys don't know because you can't avoid an argument. I mean, for example, maybe you guys are about to head into an argument with your parents and you know that it's coming, or your friend, you know, your best friend. How, if you can feel it coming, how do you sort of stop the argument, or do you just let the argument happen? While you think about that, Nadine has, I hope I've said it right, but Nadine has said something. We can avoid arguments by redirecting the conversation. Good, that's another way. Or changing the topic. Or you can just let them air it out. Back down for a bit and hear them out. I think that's
Awesome.
really, really important, most definitely, because sometimes there are some people that just need to breathe before they sort of get into something. And if you don't allow them that space, you could head for head-on conflict, which isn't always the best.
For sure. Sometimes people just need a few minutes to like calm down, to regather, and then they're good. We actually have Bree, who also says we should try to look on people's opinions, their suggestions. And if you feel that there's an argument about to rise, you should agree on a person's side and not contradict their opinions. Yeah, so maybe give them a little bit of, you know, like, oh, you're right. Sure, I see your point. I see where you're coming from. Sort of give them that little bit of validation, just so that, you know, you can diffuse the situation, as you would say. Yeah, someone says, I usually don't avoid arguments, but being calm while it's happening is the best way. For sure, you don't want just maybe a small disagreement to turn into a huge yelling fight, you know? So maybe sometimes even if you are disagreeing with someone, just keeping your tone level and calm is a great way to keep the situation from going even further. I think someone did raise their hand. Let me just see for a second.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, you can speak. You can go for it. You can speak.
Yeah, you can go for it.
I just didn't know how to pronounce your name. You did have your hand up, but
yeah, I think it's Ayuldiz. I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Or maybe, you know,
maybe it was a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see.
Aisha has said as well, like, I'm very confrontational and I would avoid, there we go. And I would rather solve the disagreement head on. That being said, I always try to be impartial in my arguments so that I can find the best way to resolve it. And that's really awesome. You know, some people are confrontational and some people aren't. And if you are confrontational, it's really good to solve the disagreement that you've had, because, you know, you don't want to hang on to that bad vibe as well. So you really want to resolve it in the best way that you can. Whereas some people do need a bit of space. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't want to keep it in. So Lily, I believe you have your hand up and you wrote something in the chat box here, but if you have your hand up, would you like to tell us your sort of take on this?
I think it's best for a person to listen to other people so they can avoid argument and disorder in the group of people. So the best opinion is just to come and listen to the other person's opinion so you can grasp what the person is trying to say.
For sure. Amazing point. One of the principles as well that's not, in this presentation, but is in the book is about the importance of listening, like Lily mentioned. And just listening to someone can really go a long way in either a regular conversation or something that's about to go and turn into an argument.
Yeah, most
Awesome. Thank you
definitely.
guys so much for your opinions. Our chat box here as well is full. We love to hear your opinions on these things. And we even have people reacting with emojis. Awesome. So I think one more prompt that we can sort of get into, and I think for me is an interesting one. So in the book, Dale says that praise is a very important part of communication, that we praise people, that we sort of give them these compliments. So why do you guys think praise would be an important part of communication? And just in case maybe you guys aren't too familiar with the word, again, praise is sort of when you talk someone up and you tell them like, that's so amazing, or you did this so well, or tell me a little bit about this. This was so cool. This was so this and that. So you sort of compliment them, and you use this in communication. But why do you think people use it? Why do you think it might be important to use praise in communication?
Just like while they're thinking, I think for me, like,
Yeah.
If someone gets praise, it's really important because they feel like they're valued. The minute they get praised, they get acknowledged, they feel like they're valued.
That definitely. And also, similar to that, just like if you aren't listening to people, they won't feel heard. I feel like if you don't praise people, they won't feel seen in their actions. Someone says it's important to get a feeling of importance. And then Pentalemona, I hope I pronounced that okay, says by encouraging them, we motivate them to go on with the conversation for sure. And we motivate them to maybe open up a little bit more to us and sort of build that bridge so that we can connect with this person and build some type of friendship, colleague, friendship, trust, and so on. So that's definitely an important point. Okay. Lots of comments here.
Yeah.
I think it's better to use praise because it makes people want to speak with you more and makes them feel more important. Definitely. Oh, this is a good one by Ivy. Ivy says we all enjoy being validated or being told we did something well. Praise makes us feel good about ourselves and it brings a strong relationship between people. For sure, we all like that feeling of validation sometimes, and seeing that maybe something that we did was appreciated, some of our work was appreciated, and so on.
No, 100%. Yeah. I mean, Heather says, I think it's better to use praise because it makes people want to speak with you more and makes them feel more important. 100%. That's absolutely right.
Awesome.
We've got from Lily as well.
Yeah, lots of comments from you guys. We're really excited to see that you've been opening up a bit more. We do hope, we have a big one here. Let me just scroll up so I can see who, Bridget wrote that in her opinion, praises play a vital role in winning friends because we need to learn to appreciate people. And if we appreciate, they would like us back, create a connection. And then if you learn to appreciate others, they will appreciate you also. This is definitely something we shouldn't forget. Maybe sometimes we feel like people aren't praising us, but we have to wonder, did we praise those people when they did something well? Because when you praise someone, that opens the door for them to praise you back when you do something well. So honestly, Bridget, this is an amazing point.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, you've touched on a lot of things there that I think people can all relate to.
For sure. So we hope that you would recommend this book to your friends, your peers, your colleagues, and that you're excited to read more of this book. Again, if some of you maybe haven't started the book yet and have registered for TeenEagle or are about to register for TeenEagle soon, you definitely still have time, whether you're planning to participate in February or the March round. You definitely have time, but it would be great if you guys would get on that before the next discussion session, because on the next ReadEagle session, and let me go back to that poster here, on the next one, we would love to hear some of your questions and maybe see where we can go more in depth in discussion, and there will be some sample questions. So tune in next time. There will be some sort of like mock questions, sample questions that we could go through together and just see how much of the book you guys have really sort of mastered in that way.
Yeah, 100%.
So again, thank you guys so much for joining us today. That's the end of our session. We wanted to dive into a few of these principles with you. It was great to hear your opinions on this, and we really, really can't wait for next time.
Definitely. I just want to, it just says Galaxy A51. Will there be questions about England history? Absolutely not. So remember that, that Lily, I'll read your response. But in terms of Galaxy A51, there's no questions about England history. It's only the resources. So it's only the book and the film that you have to prepare for the online round. Lily, let me read yours to everybody. It says, to me, it is very respectful for the person to allow the other to talk. If not, it will seem like you're starting the argument, which is what the person is actually doing. Yes, thank you, Lily. That's definitely something that we all have taken. So thank you so much.
Yeah, so should you guys have any questions, you know, apart from this, feel free to contact us. Also, if you want to see all of the updates that we're posting, you can follow us on Instagram, on LinkedIn. If some of you already have LinkedIn, we will be posting the exact time for the mock exam, which will also be happening next Saturday. And there you can sort of get a chance to really see what the online competition is going to look like. I believe it says iPhone raised their hand. So do you have a question or something you'd like to add?
I just have a question. How hard will the exam be?
How hard will it be?
Yeah, like the questions about the book, because I read it, well, not till the end, but it's so big and it's not even ending. But it's a good book. I really like it.
Glad to hear you liked it. I definitely get how it might be. I mean, it's different from other books because it's not a story. You don't really have characters that you can remember and sort of a storyline you can remember. It's not hard. I don't think the test is hard if you sort of take note of the principles and sort of just remember different cases and you know, different examples that were given. But you don't, of course, it's not about memorization or anything. It's just sort of about understanding the point behind it. So I think that if you guys just sit down and read it attentively, that you'll definitely be fine as far as the exam is concerned.
Yeah, most
Thank
definitely.
you so much for your question.
Yeah, 100%. And just to add to that, to top it off, is that during the mock exams, which are quite important to join, those mock exams actually include 5 of the questions that we've added to the actual exam. So it's really advantageous for you to join those mock sessions. We obviously can't tell you which 5 questions, but you'll get an idea of the types of questions that we're asking during the exam, 5 of which will be in the actual exam itself.
Yes, which will obviously, I mean, that's a pretty good advantage if you ask me. So yeah, guys, thank you once again. It was great to see your faces, to hear from you, and we can't wait to see you on the 23rd.
Good.
Bye.
Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.